you doing, my friends? This is Shandabear here, and this is Dark Alleys. And I'm going to tell you the story of CLEO Roy. Now, CLEO Roy was this kid. He was about 15 years old at the time that this incident happened. But him and his friends used to like to party. They used to like to party a lot. It took place in 1976, and essentially he would party, him and his friends, on Saturday nights and such, but they'd get noise complaints at the house. So essentially what happened was, in fact, it took place on I believe it was October 2nd of 1976. I think that's what it was. But anyways, it was in 1976. So they were having a party one Saturday night. And the police came. All right? And the police officer's name was Ralph Miller. All right? He'd been on the force for 1 year. He was about 25 years old, something like that. And so he approaches CLEO Roy. He's trying to calm everything down, get the place quieted down. But CLEO Roy was a little off that day. He was a wild sort of kid. Did not like authority at all. So he took a rifle and he shot Officer Miller. He shot him. It was bad because he killed him. And it wasn't just that he killed an officer, which is bad enough, but the officer had a 3-year-old child, and the wife happened to be pregnant at the time. So everybody was outraged. I mean, outraged, as well they should be. And they wanted to go after CLEO Roy. Now, at the time, there were so many controversies around the case. The first one was Officer Miller was wearing a flak vest at the time, a bulletproof vest, or at least that's what they called them then, bulletproof vests. But CLEO Roy used a rifle, and the rifle cut through it just like butter. Just went right through it like butter. And Officer Miller died later on at CMC Hospital, later on that night. And so everybody was wondering, well, what good is a bulletproof vest if it won't hold back a bullet? Little did people know at the time, flak vests and quote-unquote bulletproof vests, bullet-resistant vests, were really only rated, certainly in the 70s, for very low handgun calibers. They weren't rated for rifles. They had 38 specials, maybe a 45, certainly not a 357 or anything higher. I think 9 millimeters even didn't go through them. They cut through them. I don't think they cut through them like butter, but they could go through. They were very low but the technology just wasn't there yet. In any event, that was one of the subjects that erupted over the case. That was the first one. But there was a second one. And the second one took precedent all over the United States because there was a problem. You see, CLEO Roy was a minor. And he was about, I want to say he was 15 years old at the time. He's at or about 15 years old. He was a minor. So essentially they wanted to try him as an adult. He was one of the first people in the country to actually be tried as an adult. And it happened right here in Manchester, New Hampshire. It's an extremely sad case. Now, Officer Miller was only on the job for a year. I don't know if he had any law enforcement experience before that, though. Needless to say, things changed rapidly in the city of Manchester as far as law enforcement's concerned. Right after that, special reaction teams were created, and they were the forebearers of SWAT teams, like SWAT teams today. Special reactions team. There were also other things too, special operations units, things like that. So, it's a real problem. But CLEO Roy was one of the first people to be tried as an adult. Now, the crime he committed was particularly heinous, so you can understand why he was tried as an adult. And he was tried as an adult. He got 50 years for the sentence. So, recently, very recently, he was paroled. They actually let him out. But what was weird about it was he went to state prison, and being a cop killer, you think, oh, this is going to be bad. You know, the kid's 15 years old, cop killer going into a, adult prison. This is bad. He was a model prisoner. He's a model prisoner all throughout his stay. And he was such a model prisoner, in fact, he was in the low-intensity unit of the state prison before they released him. He did get the parole. I don't know if he should have or shouldn't have. I don't know. I don't make decisions like that. But I certainly still would advise everybody to pour a little bit out for Officer Ralph Miller. There is another problem with the case, though. The CLEO Roy case was particularly bad, particularly heinous, particularly vicious. But a lot of the minors that are arrested now and convicted as adults are not committing crimes as heinous as him. And with that, we pour a little bit out for Officer Ralph Miller. And, well, if you like stories like this, wow, like, comment, subscribe. And this is Shanda Bear. Shanda Bear out.